One of the fundamental actions in Google Sheets is creating a new spreadsheet. You can either start with a blank sheet or choose from a selection of pre-designed templates. To create a spreadsheet in Google Drive, click New, select Google Sheets, then select Blank Spreadsheet. A new blank workbook is opened, ready for you to begin entering data. By default, Google Sheets names newly created spreadsheets as Untitled. To name a spreadsheet, click in the Name field. Type a name, then press Enter. The file is renamed accordingly. You may be asking how to save a Google Sheet file. Google Sheets will automatically save your work while you have an internet connection. Let's add some data to our sheet to test this. I will close the file by clicking the X on the Sheet tab. Now let's reopen the file by clicking on it. Notice that the spreadsheet is saved and appears the same once it is reopened. Instead of creating a spreadsheet from scratch, you can also use pre-designed templates to create commonly used documents such as invoices, budgets, calendars, and schedules. To create a spreadsheet from a template, click the New button. Next, hover over the arrow to the right of Google Sheets on the menu, then select from a template. The template gallery displays. Recently used templates are shown at the top. Below, the templates are grouped into categories such as personal, work, project management, and education. Let's look at some of the templates. In the personal category, there are templates for to-do lists, monthly budgets, schedules, calendars, planners, and more. In the work category, there are templates for invoices, timesheets, reports, and dashboards. In the education category, there are templates for attendance, gradebooks, and assignments. Simply select a template that interests you. A template with its design elements and placeholder data appears, which you can customize to your liking. This concludes our lesson on how to create a spreadsheet in Google Sheets. You learned how to create a blank spreadsheet and how to create a spreadsheet from a template. In a previous lesson, we looked at how to create a spreadsheet. In this lesson, you will learn different ways to open a spreadsheet that has already been created and saved. One way is to open a spreadsheet from Google Drive. We are in My Drive, where we can navigate to a spreadsheet, then double-click it. The spreadsheet opens in its own tab. You can also go to the Google Apps icon at the top right of the screen, then select the Google Sheets app to launch it. Below, you will see a list of your spreadsheets. Just double-click the spreadsheet you want to open. Inside a spreadsheet, you can also open other spreadsheets by clicking File Open. A dialog box opens. Here, there are multiple options to open a file. One option is to search for a file in the search field. Below the search field, there are multiple tabs that can be used to browse files. The Recent tab displays recently opened spreadsheets. The My Drive tab enables you to browse folders and spreadsheets in your primary folder. Another option is the Starred tab, which displays spreadsheets that have been starred to enable users to quickly access frequently used files. I will go back to the Recent tab. Let's open the Fortune 1000 spreadsheet by double-clicking it. The file opens in its own tab. In this lesson, you learned how to open spreadsheets. We looked at multiple ways to search, browse, and open spreadsheets from within Google Drive and Google Sheets. While using Sheets, you may need to copy a file for some reason. To copy a spreadsheet, click File. Then select Make a Copy. The Copy Document dialog box displays. Type a name for the copied spreadsheet. You can optionally specify the folder where you want to save the copied spreadsheet. I will leave it in the main My Drive folder. Finally, click Make a Copy. Google Sheets creates and displays the copied spreadsheet. To move a spreadsheet, click File. Next, select Move. Now navigate to the desired folder. Finally, click Move. A message displays stating the file has been moved to the new folder. Let's go to the Travel folder to confirm the file has been moved there. As you can see, the Travel file was successfully moved to the Travel folder. Moving files is pretty simple. There is also another way to move a file. Let's open the Travel file again. Next, click the Move icon, which is to the right of the star icon. The Move Travel dialog box opens. The current location is the Travel folder, which we confirmed just a few moments ago. Let's move the file back to the My Drive folder by selecting it and clicking Move. If we check the My Drive folder, we can see that the Travel spreadsheet has successfully been moved back. You may need to delete a spreadsheet at some point. To delete a spreadsheet, click File. Next, select Move to Trash. The spreadsheet is deleted and moved to the Trash folder in Google Drive. After deleting a spreadsheet file, you can restore it if you deleted it by mistake or if you just changed your mind about deleting it. I will go back to my drive in Google Drive. Next, let's click the Trash folder. Select the file you want to restore. I will select the Travel file that we previously deleted. Finally, click the More Actions vertical ellipses at the far right of the screen, then select Restore. The spreadsheet is restored. If we go back to My Drive, we can see the Travel file has been restored. As you add more spreadsheets in Google Sheets, you may want to think about organizing your files and folders. The star feature is great for this. It enables you to star important files and folders to quickly access them. To star a spreadsheet, click the star icon to the right of the spreadsheet name. The star is now blue, indicating the spreadsheet has been starred. To view starred files, click Starred on the left side navigation panel of the Google Drive screen. The Starred section enables you to quickly access important files in one place. To remove a star, click the star again. The star will no longer have the filled color, and the spreadsheet will be removed from the starred section. In Google Sheets, a cell is a rectangular space where a row and column intersect. Cells are the fundamental units of a spreadsheet and can hold various types of data, including numbers, formulas, and other values. Knowing how to select cells is essential in Google Sheets. Let's select the cell that contains the company Apple. Cells are identified by a cell name or reference, which is a combination of the column letter and the row number. For example, we have selected cell A5, which is the cell at the intersection of column A and row 5. The selected cell will have a border around it. Also, the column letter and row number will be shaded. The cell reference can also be seen in the name box at the upper left corner. To select multiple cells, hold the Shift key down, then use the arrow keys to select additional cells. While holding down the Shift key, I will press the down arrow key 3 times, then the right arrow key 1 time to select these 8 cells. To select an entire row, click on the row header. This will highlight all the cells in that row. Additionally, the row header will be shaded darker to show that the entire row is selected. Selecting columns isn't very different to selecting rows. To select a column, click the column header. All the cells in that column are selected. Also, the column's header is shaded darker to indicate that the entire column is selected. To select multiple columns, hold the Shift key, then press the left or right arrow keys to select additional columns. I will click in a cell in the spreadsheet to deselect the 4 columns. To select all the cells in the spreadsheet, click the Select All box in the upper left corner. Please note that you can also use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl+A to select all the cells. In this lesson, you learned about selecting cells in Google Sheets, including how to select multiple cells, rows, and columns. When building a spreadsheet, you will add text, numbers, and formulas into cells. In this lesson, we will look at how to enter and edit cell data in Google Sheets. To enter cell data, select the cell you want to enter data into. The selected cell will have a border around it, since it is now the active cell. I will enter the data into the cell, then press Enter. In the previous example, we entered data into a blank cell. You can also edit data in a cell that is populated. To edit cell data, double-click the cell you want to edit. Next, type the new data, then press Enter. To delete cell contents, select the cell or cells you want to clear. Next, press the Delete key. The contents are deleted from the cell. In this lesson, you learned how to enter, edit, and delete cell data. To duplicate or relocate data within Google Sheets, you can utilize the copy or cut commands. Copying enables you to swiftly replicate its contents into a different cell. To copy cell data, select the cell or cells you want to copy. Click Edit on the menu. Select Copy. Next, select the cell where you want to paste the data. Click Edit. Finally, select Paste. The contents of the original cell are replicated in the newly selected cell. When using Copy, the data in the original cell remains. Let's look at a second method to copy a cell. Right-click the cell you want to copy, then click Copy. I forgot to mention it before, but I want to point out the marching ants or animated dashed lines around the cell after clicking Copy. It signifies that the cell is currently selected and ready to be pasted elsewhere. Finally, right-click the cell where you want to copy the data to, then click Paste. There's also a shortcut key to copy and paste. Press Ctrl+C to copy a cell. Then use Ctrl+V to paste the data in the new cell. Now let's look at the cut command. Cut is like copy, but with cut, the selected data is removed from the original location. To cut a cell, select the cell or cells you want to cut. Next, click Edit on the menu. Select Cut. Now click the new cell where you want to paste the data. Next, click Edit on the menu. Finally, select Paste. The data is pasted into the new cell while being removed from the original cell. This is how cut differs from copy. Let's look at a second method to cut a cell. Right-click the cell you want to cut, then click Cut. Next, right-click the cell where you want to paste the data, then click Paste. The shortcut key to cut a cell is Ctrl+X. Then press Ctrl+V to paste the data into the new cell. In this lesson, you learned how to use the copy and cut commands to move cell data in Google Sheets. Since there are many commands, sometimes you may be unsure where a command is in Google Sheets. Fortunately, you can use Help to search the menus for commands. I have a Places to Visit spreadsheet and have highlighted the top row. To search for a command, click Help. Next, select Search the menus. Type bold in the search field. Commands pertaining to your search will be displayed. You can apply a command directly from here. Click the bold command. The text in the top row is now bold, just like if you used the bold command on the formatting toolbar. If you need help with how to do something in Google Sheets, you can search Help topics for questions you may have. Help has articles, tips, and instructions on how to use Sheets features. To search for Help topics, click Help. Next, select Sheets Help. I want help creating a chart, so I will type Chart in the Search Help field. Then press Enter. A list of help topics are displayed. Finally, select the desired help topic. In this lesson, you will learn how to insert rows in Google Sheets. Inserting rows is a simple process. Select the row where you want to insert the new row. Next, click Insert on the menu. Finally, select Rows option row above or row below. I will select row above. The new row is inserted above. Let's look at a second method to insert a row. Once again, select the row header to select the entire row. Next, right-click the shaded area of the row. Here, you can select Insert one row above or Insert one row below. I will select one row below. The new row is inserted below. Now let's look at how to insert multiple rows at once. Before we do that, I will return the spreadsheet to its original state. Let's say we wanted to insert 3 rows above the Times Square row. First, click the row header to select the row you want to insert rows above. Next, while holding the Shift key down, press the down arrow key 2 times to select a total of 3 rows. Now click Insert on the menu. Next, hover over the arrow to the right of rows. You will have the option to insert 3 rows above or 3 rows below. If you select 3 rows above, it will insert the rows above the top row you have selected. If you select 3 rows below, it will insert the rows below the bottom row you have selected. I will select 3 rows above since I want the new rows to be inserted above Times Square, which is the top row of my selection. As you can see, 3 rows have been inserted above. In this lesson, you learned multiple ways to insert a row in Google Sheets, including how to insert multiple rows at once. In this lesson, you will learn how to insert a column in Google Sheets. To insert a column, select the column where you want to insert the new column next to. To do this, click the column header. Next, click Insert on the menu. Now, hover the mouse pointer over the arrow to the right of columns. You will have the option to insert one column left or insert one column right. I will select Insert one column left. The new column is inserted. Let's look at a second way to insert a column. Once again, click the column header to select the entire column. Next, right-click the shaded area of the column. Here, you can select Insert one column left or Insert one column right. I will select Insert one column right. The new column is inserted to the right. Now let's look at how to insert multiple columns at once. Before we do that, I will return the spreadsheet to its original state. Let's say we wanted to insert 2 columns to the left of the city column. First, click the column header to select the column you want to insert columns next to. Next, while holding the Shift key down, press the right arrow key 1 time to select a total of 2 columns. Now click Insert on the menu. Next, hover over the arrow to the right of columns. You will have the option to insert 2 columns left or insert 2 columns right. If you select Insert 2 columns left, the columns will be inserted before the leftmost column selected. If you select Insert 2 columns right, the columns will be inserted after the rightmost column selected. I will select Insert 2 columns left since I want the new columns to be inserted before the city column, which is the leftmost column in my selection. As you can see, 2 columns have been inserted to the left of the city column. In this lesson, you learned multiple ways to insert a column in Google Sheets, including how to insert multiple columns at once. In this short lesson, you will learn how to use a drag and drop method to move a cell or cells to a different part of a Google Sheet. First, select the cell you want to move. Next, move the mouse pointer over the border of the selected cell until it appears as a hand. Finally, click and drag the cell to the new location in the spreadsheet. You can also move multiple cells at once by selecting a cell range. First, let me reverse my last action by clicking Undo. Next, I will select the range of cells I want to move. Now, I will move the mouse pointer over the border of the selected range until a hand appears. Finally, let's click and drag the cells to the new location in the spreadsheet. In this lesson, you learned how to use the drag and drop method to move cells. In this lesson, you will learn how to delete cells in Google Sheets. Our Google Sheet, which contains a list of Fortune 1000 companies, has some issues that need to be cleaned up. We will need to delete values and unwanted rows and columns. Row 5 has improper values in column A and column D. To delete these values, select the cell or cell range you want to delete. Next, press the Delete key to delete the values. You can also delete cells by using the menu. First, I will click Undo to restore the deleted values. Next, click Edit on the menu. Finally, select Delete Values. Yet another option to delete cells is by right-clicking the cell or selected cell range. I will undo once again to restore the deleted values. Next, right-click the selected cells to display the contextual commands. Finally, select Delete Cells and Shift Up. The values in cells are deleted and the cells below are shifted up. Next, we have a blank row and 2 columns that need to be deleted. To delete a row, select the row header of the row you want to delete. Next, click Edit on the menu. Finally, select Delete Row 5. Now that the row is deleted, we just need to delete the 2 empty columns. To do this, click the column B header to select column B. Next, hold the Shift key down, then press the right arrow key once to select column C also. Now click Edit on the menu. Finally, hover the mouse on the arrow to the right of Delete, then select Delete columns B and C. The columns are deleted and the spreadsheet is looking much better. In this lesson, you learned how to delete values, cells, rows, and columns. In Google Sheets, you can hide rows and columns in a worksheet. This doesn't delete the row or column. They are just temporarily hidden until you choose to unhide it. This can help you concentrate on specific information without distractions. To hide a row, right-click the row header to display the contextual commands. Next, select Hide Row. The row is hidden. There is now a button with 2 arrows on the row headers between row 3 and 5. This signifies that there is a hidden row between them. Although the row is hidden, the values can still be referenced in formulas. To unhide the row, click the arrows button between the row headers. As you can see, row 4 is displayed again. Hiding a column is very similar. To hide a column, right-click the column header. Next, click Hide Column. To unhide column B, click the arrows button at the border of column A and C. Now let's look at how to hide multiple rows at once. To hide multiple rows, first click the row header of a row you want to hide. Next, hold the Shift key down, then use the up or down arrows to select additional rows. Finally, right-click in the shaded area, then select Hide Rows 4 through 6. Rows 4 through 6 are now hidden. Hiding multiple columns uses the same process, so I won't repeat it. In this lesson, you learned how to hide rows and columns, including how to unhide them. Google Sheets offers a convenient spell check feature to avoid embarrassing spelling mistakes. It scans your document, highlights errors, and provides suggestions for corrections. I have a small travel spreadsheet containing some famous travel places in the world. I have purposefully added a few spelling mistakes to help illustrate how the spelling check feature works. To check spelling, click Tools on the menu. Next, hover over Spelling. Finally, select Spell Check. The Spell Check dialog box displays. It displays the misspelled words it has found, then gives you the opportunity one by one to decide if you want to change the spelling or ignore. Eiffel Tower has been identified as misspelled. A suggestion has been given to correct it. Click Change to accept the correction. The correction has been made. The next misspelling is presented in the dialog box. Let's continue through the spell check. The suggested changes are made and the spelling check is completed. Our spreadsheet is now free of spelling errors. Occasionally, you may need to locate a specific word, number, or value within your spreadsheet, but might not know its exact position. Fortunately, you can utilize the Find feature to search through your spreadsheet and quickly pinpoint what you're looking for. To find a text or value, click Edit on the menu. Next, select Find and Replace. The Find and Replace dialog box displays. Type a search phrase in the Find field. Next, click Find. The initial occurrence of the search phrase is selected. Click Find once again to select the next occurrence and proceed through the spreadsheet. Click Done once you have completed. In this lesson, you learned how to use the Find feature to find a specific value in your Google Sheet. The Find and Replace feature in Google Sheets is a handy tool that helps you locate specific data and, if needed, replace it with something else. While randomly reviewing the Fortune 1000 spreadsheet, I noticed that Cardinal Health is misspelled. I can manually fix this, which is easy to do. I want to check if the word health is misspelled elsewhere in the spreadsheet, then fix those also, but I want to do it in a less manual way. We can use the Find and Replace feature to accomplish this. To do this, click Edit on the menu. Next, select Find and Replace. The Find and Replace dialog box displays. Next, type a search phrase in the Find field. I will type the misspelled version of health I want to find. Now, type the text you want to replace it with in the Replace With field. I will type the correct spelling of health. There are other search settings that can be customized, including which sheets to search in the spreadsheet. There are also options to match the case, or to match the entire contents of the cell. I will leave the default settings in this simple example. Next, click Find. The first instance of the value in the Find field has been located. Just simply click Replace. The found value is replaced, then the next instance of a found value is selected. You can keep clicking Replace or click Replace All if you want to replace all the remaining values at once. There are no more matching entries, so I will click Done. In this lesson, you learned how to use the Find and Replace feature to replace text in your spreadsheet. Welcome to Part 2 of this Google Sheets tutorial. In this part of the tutorial, we will focus on formatting. After finishing this 20-minute module, you will have 11 more spreadsheet skills to improve your performance in your job, school, or business. Let's get started. To quickly enhance the look of your spreadsheet, you can change the font of the text. Fonts are sets of characters, including letters, numbers, and punctuation, designed with a unified appearance. They come in different sizes and styles, such as bold and italics, offering various options to customize your text. To change a font, select the cells you want to format. Next, click the Font List drop-down arrow on the formatting toolbar. The default font is Arial. Below this, you will see recent fonts used and a list of fonts available to select. I don't see the font I'm looking for, so I will click More Fonts. The Fonts dialog box displays. I will type Calibri in the search box, select it, then click OK. The font has been changed. A common formatting task while working in Google Sheets is to change the font size of certain elements in a spreadsheet. Let's increase the font size of the column header in this table so it is easier to read. To change the font size, select the cells to format. Next, click Format on the menu. Now hover the mouse over font size. Finally, select the font size. I will select 14. The font size has been changed. Now let's look at another way to change the font size. Click in the Font Size box on the toolbar. A list of font sizes are displayed. This time I will select 18. Okay, I've realized this font size is too big. I can also use the plus and minus buttons next to the font size box to change the size. I will click the minus button a few times to decrease the font size to 12. Okay, I think this looks better. In this lesson, you learned a few ways to change the font size in Google Sheets. In this lesson, we will look at how to use more formatting techniques, including applying font effects. We have the Fortune 1000 company's spreadsheet once again. The column header's font and font size have already been formatted. It has also been bolded. If you want to unbold the cells, click the Bold Command button on the toolbar. Let's keep the headers bolded. We can change the text color by clicking the Text Color Command button, which displays the color selections. I like this blue color, so I will select it. Now let's add a background color to the cells. click the Fill Color Command button on the toolbar. Let's select this light gray color. The table looks good, so let's wrap up this lesson here. In this lesson, you learned about font effects including bold, text color, and fill color, which can be used to give your spreadsheets a more polished look. While working in Google Sheets, you will likely need to change the alignment of text, numbers, and other values. We have the places to visit Spreadsheet here. To change horizontal alignment, select a cell or cell range. Next, click the Horizontal Align button on the toolbar. There are 3 alignment options: left, center, and right. I will select center to center the column headers. You can also vertically align cell values. You may need to do this if a row height is larger than usual. To change vertical alignment, select a cell or cell range. Next, click the Vertical Align button on the toolbar. There are 3 options: top, middle, and bottom. Let's select top. The cell values are now top aligned. In this lesson, you learned how to horizontally and vertically align cell values. The Merge Cells feature in Google Sheets is a convenient tool that enables you to combine multiple selected cells into one. This is particularly useful for formatting, such as creating a header that extends across multiple columns or rows. I have added a header in cell A1 of the spreadsheet. I would like to format it so that it is centered across columns A, B, and C. We can use the Merge Cells feature to do this. To merge cells, first select a cell range. One quick note: when you perform a horizontal merge, the data from the top leftmost cell in the selection is preserved. All other cells' contents are deleted, so use caution with this feature to avoid accidental data loss. Next, click the Merge Cells button on the toolbar. Cells A1, B1, and C1 have been merged. You can unmerge the cells by clicking the Select Merge Type drop-down arrow to the right of the Merge Cells button. Next, select Unmerge. The cells are unmerged and the cell borders are once again present between A1, B1, and C1. I want to keep the cells merged, so I will click the Merge Cells button once again. Next, I will horizontally align the header to be centered. Finally, let's add a fill color to make the header stand out more. In this lesson, you learned how to use the Merge Cells feature to combine multiple cells into one. Google Sheets' Wrap Text feature is great for ensuring that all your data remains visible and well organized within a cell, particularly when the text exceeds the default cell width. As of this video, the default cell width is 100 pixels. The Wrap Text command has 3 options. I have created 3 different text strings below, so we can explore how each option works. Let's select the text in cell A3. Next, click the Text Wrapping button on the toolbar. The 3 text wrap options display. I will select Overflow, which enables text to overflow into the next cell. The text string was already overflowing into the next cell by default, so our text remains the same as before. Now let's select the text in cell A5. Once again, click the Text Wrapping button on the toolbar. This time let's choose the Wrap option. The text wraps onto the next line. Moving on, click cell A7 to explore the 3rd text wrap option. Next, click the Text Wrapping button on the toolbar. Finally, let's choose the Clip option. This clips the text off at the cell border. In this lesson, you learned about the Text Wrapping command, including its 3 options. Cell borders help visually organize your data, which makes them a useful formatting feature. We have the places to visit Spreadsheet here, which should be familiar to you if you have watched some of my other videos. Let me quickly add a column and row so that we will be able to see the cell borders a little bit better once we add them. Okay, that's better. To add a cell border, select a cell or range. Next, click the Borders button on the toolbar. A Borders Options menu displays where you can choose where you want the borders to appear. the options include all, inner, horizontal, vertical, outer, left, top, right, and bottom. There is also a clear option to remove the borders. To the right of these are the border color options. Below the border color options are the border style options, where you can choose a solid, dashed, dotted, or double-lined border. Now that we understand the border options, let's add a border to our table. First, I will select all borders. Borders now appear on all cells in our table. You may be asking which is the right border to choose. The answer is, it depends. You will need to decide which border makes the most sense for your cells. This is something you will naturally build a feel for with time. Next, I will change the border color to this cornflower blue color since I like it better. Okay, I noticed the border color didn't change. This sometimes happens. I'm not sure why. How I usually fix this is by selecting the border type once again. The color change then takes effect. Finally, I will take a look at the border style options. I'm actually happy with this border style, so I will leave it as is. In this lesson, you learned how to add a cell border. We also learned about border options such as border types, colors, and styles. Some of the number formats in Google Sheets include automatic, number, currency, and time. The default number format is automatic. In this lesson, we will look at how to change the number format. You may be asking, why change the default automatic format? The answer is it helps prepare your data to use with formulas and functions, since it lets Sheets know what kind of data you have. To change the number format, select the cell or cell range of the numbers you want to format. I will select cells C2 through C8. Next, click the 1, 2, 3 More Formats button on the Formatting toolbar. A dialog box opens with an extensive list of number formats. As I mentioned earlier, automatic is the default number format, as you can see by the check mark. There are formats for number, percent, scientific, currency, date, time, and more. We will discuss just the basics of number formats, but it's worth noting it can be a vast topic, which is beyond the scope of this introductory lesson. Our product list has a prices column with the prices listed as a number with 2 decimals. It may be more useful to change this to currency. I will select the currency number format. The prices now appear with a dollar symbol, which is more appropriate for product prices. Let me undo our last step, then click the Format as Currency button on the toolbar. We get the same result with one less click. As mentioned, the product prices have 2 decimal places. We can easily increase the decimal places displayed by clicking the Increase Decimal Places button on the toolbar. Conversely, we can decrease the decimal places displayed by clicking the Decrease Decimal Places button. A key thing to note is decreasing or increasing the decimal places displayed doesn't change the underlying number. For example, if we click the displayed price for shampoo, which is rounded to 1 decimal, the number in the formula bar still displays 9.75, which is still the underlying value. I will change the decimals back to 2 places. In this lesson, you learned the basics of number formats. You also learned how to increase and decrease the decimal places displayed. The freeze feature in Google Sheets allows you to keep specific rows or columns visible at all times while you scroll through your spreadsheet. This is particularly useful for keeping headers or key data in view as you work with large data sets. We have a large data set for a fictional business. The spreadsheet has 8,000 plus rows of product sales transaction data. I will press Ctrl plus Home on the keyboard to return to the beginning of the spreadsheet. Now let's scroll to the right through the columns. This spreadsheet has 21 columns. This is a big spreadsheet compared to the smaller lists we have looked at in our previous lessons. Okay, I will press Ctrl plus Home to return to cell A1. While working with a big spreadsheet like this one, it is a good idea to use the freeze feature. When scrolling down the spreadsheet, do you notice that the top row is no longer visible? It is difficult to know which data we are looking at now. we can freeze the top row to alleviate this issue. To freeze a row, click View on the menu bar. Next, hover the mouse over Freeze. Finally, select one row. The top row is now frozen. When we scroll down the spreadsheet, the top row is always visible, which enables us to see the column names no matter how far we scroll. This makes it so much easier to use the spreadsheet. Okay, let's scroll back to the top. We can also freeze multiple rows if we need to. Once again, click View on the menu bar. Next, hover the mouse over Freeze. This time select 2 rows. Now 2 rows are frozen. You can freeze even more rows if you like. I will press Ctrl plus Home on the keyboard to return to the top of the spreadsheet. Just click a cell in the row you want to freeze. Just like before, click View on the menu bar. Next, hover the mouse over Freeze, then select up to row 4. 4 rows are now frozen. You can also unfreeze the rows. Click View on the menu. Next, hover the mouse over Freeze, then select No Rows. The rows are unfreezed. Okay, let's look at how we can use the freeze feature with columns also. Here we have Order ID 32. It has 4 items in the order. What if we wanted to find out what the product was, or the ship date? These columns are towards the middle and end of the column list. Let's use the Freeze Column feature to make it easier for us to navigate the sheet. Let's click in a cell in the Order Date column, which is column C. Once again, click View on the menu. Next, hover the mouse over Freeze, then select up to column C. This freezes the columns up to C. Now, when we scroll towards the Product and Ship Date fields, we can still see the Order ID and Order Date columns at the beginning of the sheet, which makes it much easier to work with. Finally, you can freeze rows and columns at the same time. Let's go to View, then freeze the top row. Now, whether we scroll down or right, the top row and first few columns will always be visible. In this lesson, you learned how to freeze rows and columns to make it easier to see and navigate your spreadsheet. The Paint Format feature in Google Sheets enables you to copy the formatting from one cell and apply it to other cells. It's like a magic wand to quickly replicate styles such as font, color, borders, and more across your spreadsheet. Let's apply some formatting to the first section. First, I will increase the font size of the column names. Next, I will also bold them. After this, let's add a fill color. This light blue color looks good. Finally, let's select this range of cells, then add a border. I will add an outside border to wrap up our formatting. Now, what if we wanted to apply the same formatting to the other sections? We could repeat the same steps, but using the Paint Format feature would enable us to do this faster. To use the Paint Format feature, first select the cells whose formatting you want to copy. Then click the Paint Format button on the toolbar. Next, select the cell or cell range you want to apply the formatting to. The formatting from the original cells are instantly applied to the new cells. You can then click the Paint Format button once again to apply the format to more cells. In a matter of seconds, we were able to duplicate the formatting from the first section to all the sections without doing them manually. Okay, I've finished formatting the last section. In this lesson, you learned how to copy the formatting from one cell or a range of cells and apply it to other cells using the Paint Format feature. Conditional formatting in Google Sheets enables you to apply specific formatting to cells based on their content. It highlights important data points or trends using colors, icons, or data bars. Let's create a conditional formatting rule to highlight in green color all sales amounts greater than $125,000 in this sales report. First, I will select the cell range that contains the sales amounts achieved by the sales reps. Next, click Format on the menu bar. Finally, select Conditional Formatting. A Conditional Format Rules dialog box displays on the right side of the screen with various settings. We have the option to apply a single color or color scale to the conditional cells. Color scale, use a gradient of colors to highlight values. In this simple example, we will stick with a single color. Next, the Apply to Range setting is where we specify the cell range to apply the Conditional Formatting rule to. As the first step, I selected the cell range C2 to C21 in the Sales column. This is reflected here. You can also make changes to the cell range here if you need to. The format rules specify the rules or criteria for when the cells will be formatted. You can specify text, date, and numerical criteria. There is also an option to create custom formulas for more advanced needs. I will select greater than. Next, we need to specify the value. If the sales amount is greater than this value, the format rule will be met, and the sales amount will be formatted with the style we set in the next step. Let's set this value to $125,000. The final step is to set the formatting styles. There are choices to bold, italic, underline, color text, fill color, and more. The default fill color is green, which is fine. I will click Done. The conditional format rule is created. All the sales amounts above $125,000 are highlighted with a green fill color. We can now see which sales reps exceeded this amount. Alice Sanchez, Emma Chang, James Jackson, Isabella Moore, and Mia Lewis all exceeded $125,000 in sales. The conditional format rule is listed on the right side of the screen. If you want to remove the conditional formatting rule, you can click the trash can icon. I will leave this as is. In this lesson, you learned how to use conditional formatting in Google Sheets.